Good afternoon. How are you all today? It's another beautiful day outside, and a lot of people make comments that they love it when I'm shooting outside versus being inside and shooting. Let you know that I am an outdoors person. I love being outdoors, and I love everything about being outdoors. So we're all outdoors together, and I'm looking forward to shooting as many as I can outside. Um, Anyone who knows anything about me knows I'm going to wear shorts and flip-flops up until the coldest day of the year, and I pray every day that it doesn't happen that soon. I want to give a shout out to Pancake, because Pancake, again, is someone who's like to me. He's a co-founder of this channel. He started a lot of this change. He started a lot of what was going on and what's happening now. So I give a shout out to him for me. Pancake, you're an awesome guy. I want to talk a little bit about, also I want to give thanks to all those people who subscribing to the channel, who's telling me that it's benefiting them, because it's a two-way thing. Not just is all this helping me, but it's helping you as well, and I'm glad about that. So that's what we're on this earth for, is to help each other to get through our struggles and whatnot. But I want to talk today about some fundamental truths in life. It's a book that I'm actually been reading. And actually, I've done this program before with when I worked for the company called Geo Reentry Services. I talked to y'all about that and how much I loved working for that company. But the book is called How to Escape Your Prison. So I want to read some of the things, some of the profound things in here that actually got me. So it's not just about people that's incarcerated or whatnot. Because again, prison can be anything. Prison can be a relationship that you're not happy in. It could be a job that you don't really like, but you're just doing it because you're doing it, but you feel trapped in that, and that becomes a prison. So one of the first things I want to talk about is number one is one of the biggest barriers that people have in forming their identity is that they hide from the world. So in here they're talking about, and in this part of the book, they're talking about forming your identity and finding out who you really are. Which is something that I think we've talked about before, struggling with that. For me, to tie myself into this, I never really knew what I could have been, because Perry Rombergs came into my life when I was 17 years old and robbed me of every potential opportunity I could have at the age of 17 years old. I became a hermit, and I got locked away in my own prison within the four walls of my home, because I didn't want to be seen. Forming my identity was something I did behind four walls and hiding. They say that hiding ourselves from others create unnecessary trouble and hassles. You will not become yourself until you quit hiding. And that is so true. You will not become who you are until you stop hiding. We talked in the last video about people always telling you that, it's going to be okay and stuff like that, and how society teaches you to bury, your pain or whatnot. And the only way you can deal with it is if you bring it and you bring it out and you expose it. So I wanted to say that for me, I have to get out of that. I have to get out of the hiding. It says you will not become yourself until you quit hiding. It's so powerful to hear that. I've always said, and I'll always say it, that I would rather be a first-rate me than a second-rate someone else. I can be me really, really good. Reaching and fulfilling your goals will, to some extent, depend upon your relationships to others. The more you hide, the less genuine and honest you are. People will know if you are genuine or hiding. And I just had a conversation with someone last night where we talked about how people are good at picking out genuine people, and how they, if something doesn't feel right, how they are able to look at that and say, even like when the videos and my stories, we talked about how a lot of people say that they can feel their sincerity. And one thing about, because I know that there's a lot of stuff on the internet, and I know there's a lot of people that's trying to fake people or whatnot, and catfishing and all that stuff, and want it to be real. This is the only platform that like I shared with them last night, the only platform on this YouTube channel that I've actually shown my whole face. I mean, I'm on Facebook and they see that half of me. They never see this side, which I guess goes to the whole topic that we're talking about, hiding. So I'm not being genuine to them because of the fact that I was hiding who I really am by just showing half of who I am, by showing half of my face. So tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about that paragraph. I'll read it again just so you can kind of get it. One of the biggest barriers that people have in forming their own identity is that they try to hide from the world. Hiding ourselves from others creates unnecessary trouble and hassles. You will not become yourself until you quit hiding. Reaching and fulfilling your goals will, to some extent, depend upon your relationship to others. The more you hide, the less genuine and honest you are. People will not know if you are genuine or hiding. So tell me what you think about that. I'll delve more into what I thought about it and how it affected me later on, because this channel is not just about me. It's about helping others and connecting people and helping people to move further in life and realize their full potential, and not just mine but everyone's. Number 2 says, trying to avoid the ordinary difficulties and problems of life brings more difficulties and problems. People who try to avoid forming relationships because they are afraid of being hurt or rejected feel the pain of loneliness constantly. God knows that that's me. So again, I think that even these lessons here, they're talking to me and they're teaching me. When you try to avoid the everyday life and you try to avoid the problems of everyday, it causes more problems and difficulties, and God knows it do. People who try to avoid forming relationships because they are afraid of being hurt, and I think all of us have been hurt by someone or something in our life, and we're scared to let down the walls and let people break in. It's what they call defense mechanisms. Defense mechanisms exist to protect us and to keep us from being hurt. And because I've been through that before, and God knows I'm not going to let it happen again. So I guess you can actually say too that, well, thank God I didn't. When the event that caused this whole YouTube channel, the whole GoFundMe, the day when all this started, and I could have came up with more defense mechanisms, and actually I did. Before I made the video, I had said in my own head that I'd never trust anyone else. I'd never put myself out there again. I was ready to let it go and just be done. But something propelled me forward and said, no, I don't know where the thought came from to do this video and then post it on YouTube, but I think it was meant to be because I knew that there was more out there. So it wasn't a time to give up. It was time to look for support and look for help, and God knows, thank you. And each and every one of you, I did find that. They say that life is filled with trouble and difficulties. Bills, leaking roofs, car problems, child care, illness, etc. Accepting this fact will allow you to deal with things and then go on, so that you can discover that life is also filled with happiness, good feelings, and good times. And that is so true. My mother once told me, she said that as long as you're living and as long as you're alive, you're going to owe somebody something. Life is filled with bills. It's a part of life. It happens. And there's things in life that makes up life. I mean, it's the good and bad. Somebody would say it's the ebb and flow. But accepting that that's life instead of hiding from it and trying to make excuses for it, accepting it allows you to actually be able to enjoy the good things in life and whatnot. So then you're able to get it together and whatnot, and which is a great thing. It says that you will be happier and feel much better if you just deal with problems as they arise. And I've always said that. And rather than letting them build up and get next to you, and then you want to deal with it and become emotional when you've had enough. It's like a Coca-Cola bottle. You shake it up enough, and it's gonna the acid is gonna build up, and the top is gonna pop out. So I think that you should deal with things as it comes along. And I guess this ties again into yesterday's topic where we talked about how we talked about how society will tell you it's going to be all right, or be strong, or whatnot, and which to me, and I appreciate everybody for saying that and encouraging me, so don't take me the wrong way when I say that. But being strong is sometimes having to be weak. Is having to deal with whatever's going on. And the only way I can deal with that is if it takes me to that dark place, and if it causes me to become frustrated enough that I want to problem solve at that point, because no one likes to be uncomfortable. Think about a headache, and the first sign of a headache, you want to run and get something to take care of, because no one likes to be uncomfortable. But again, that ties again into yesterday's topic where we talked about hiding things and make yourself busy, where all of a sudden you don't have time to sit down and think about you and what's wrong and whatnot. So not dealing with it right then is sometimes it's not a good thing, because it just piles up. And then you wonder why people have anger issues. You wonder why they feel frustrated. You wonder why it's hard to talk to them or hard to communicate with them, because they don't deal with issues as it happens. Just talked to somebody last night, talked about society's view of a man, and how society says a man's supposed to be strong. He's not supposed to cry. He's supposed to rule the house and whatnot. And I think personally, and in my experiences, I have known that the strongest men I've known was able to share the problems with me and was able to cry and let me see them be vulnerable, because it meant that they was human. It meant that they had issues just like I did. It makes you feel more connected to that person, because you're not built of iron. You are a human being too, so you're able to express your emotions. I was hoping to get through more of the 7 things that we're going to talk about today, but we're reaching 15 minutes. You know, I don't like to go over 15 minutes, but I'd like for you to please share your thoughts on the 2 that we did talk about. The next video, I'll come back and we'll discuss maybe 2 more. But just so that you didn't really catch those 2, I'm gonna read them back to you, and so that you can give me feedback on it. So word for word, number 1 said, one of the biggest barriers that people have in forming their identity is that they try to hide from the world. Hiding ourselves from others creates unnecessary trouble and hassles. You will not become yourself until you quit hiding. Reaching and fulfilling your goals will, to some extent, depend upon your relationships with others. The more you hide, the less genuine and honest you are. People will know if you are not genuine or hiding. Number 2, trying to avoid the ordinary difficulties and problems of life brings more difficulties and problems. People who try to avoid forming relationships because they are afraid of being hurt or rejected feel the pain of loneliness constantly. And before I go any further with that one, and before we close out, someone just talked to me about being able to approach certain girls that they were interested in, and how the anxiety happens because they worry about what people are going to think about him if you approach them. So I think that and I'm sure that you'll know who you are. We kind of went back and forth on that, and how you should be genuine and be yourself, and that how the right one, they'll know you. But I want to give that to you. That's a good piece of solid advice, that people who try to avoid forming relationships because they are afraid of being hurt or rejected feel the pain of loneliness constantly. So I think that the thing to do at that moment is, don't put up barriers, and don't be scared, and don't let your anxiety get a hold of you. Go in full force. Whatever happens, happen. But at least you can say, I approached, and you don't know, it could turn out to be in your favor. It says that that life is filled with trouble and difficulties. Bills, leaking roofs, car troubles, childcare, illness, etc. Accepting this fact will allow you to deal with things and then go on, so that you can discover that life is also filled with happiness, good feelings, and good times. Life has many problems that constantly present themselves. You will be happier and feel much better if you just deal with problems as they come. So with that being said, we're approaching 15 minutes. We have 30 seconds, and I am going to say goodbye for today, and I'm looking forward to the next video. Please give me your feedback. Thank you for going to my GoFundMe. Thank you for everything that you're doing. One day we will get there. And I love each and every one of you. And thank you for being a part of my world and allowing me into yours. With that being said, have a good day, and I'm looking forward to reading your comments. Bye-bye.